You know, this is one of those kind of stories that I haven't told very many people. Most of my stories I've told time and time again. But this is one that I don't think, I can't even count. Maybe like five people have I told this story to. And I only really tell this story now to all of you guys because I really want to get ahead of some of the misinformation. And I don't think that's going to change. There's always going to be misinformation. But I want to at least have said that I did try to set the record straight. Now, whether or not people believe me or listen is a whole different story. Because I've said a lot of things that people didn't believe or didn't listen and came back later and was like, wow, you were right. I can't believe it. And I'm like, yeah. To me, it was kind of obvious. And to them, it was like out of left field. But anyway, I'm going to tell you the story about this sleep demon. This is a true story of what happened to me and a sleep demon that plagued me for a long, long time. And I only say this because I wanted to make sure you guys know there's a distinction between a demon, a spirit, an angel. You know, these things are different. And some people who don't know any better try to lump them together. And especially, unfortunately, especially people who have a tendency to be more religious than spiritual, they have a tendency to lump these things together. And it's just erroneous information. It's misinformation. These things aren't the same. An angel, a human spirit, a residual spirit, and a demon are totally different things. But some people think everything's a demon. And I want you to know, I've experienced one and it's very distinct. So I'm going to tell you about it, even though I might sound crazy. Some of y'all won't believe me. Some of you be watching it like, what the feezy? But it is what it is, okay? I am Queen Osset Haru. And thank you for joining me for another wonderful edition of Ask an Aquarius. If you haven't already, please hit the red subscribe button and smack the bell. Also, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Pass it on to somebody else who might like it too. And leave us a positive comment in the comment section. And don't forget to stick around to the end of the video because I talk a little smack at the end of every video. I read positive comments, I respond to them, I tell little stories. So stick around because it's always some gems at the end of the video. If you would like to get a reading done, underneath the video is everything you need to know about me. My email, my social media, my Patreon, my Amazon wish list, my PayPal if you want to give me a love donation. Everything you need to know is underneath the video. Okay? All right, let me tell you this story that I don't like telling. First of all, I have always experienced weird things. I didn't know they were paranormal as a young girl. I don't know. I would ask my mom or I would ask somebody and they would give me a weird answer or no answer at all. And I just didn't know what was going on until I got older and started to research this stuff. And then I figured out everything that was going on. But this situation that happened to me was really crazy. So when I was about 12, 13, and I've noticed that for some reason around puberty time, a lot of us have these types of things happen, if they happen at all. So around that time, I met this guy and I met some new friends, and they were into spirituality and the occult and stuff like that, but not very deep. They were just like on the surface, didn't know very much, were just learning. And the guy would always tell us these stories. He was a Scorpio, so he was very drawn to the dark. So he would always tell us these stories about stuff. And I don't know how this happened or why this happened, but some reason during that time, this being, and I don't know if it was a being that was attached to him or if it was just something that came from, I don't know where it came from, but it started to come after I started being friends with this Scorpio. And I never had this particular problem before. I would see spirits, I would see strange things all my life, and less as I got towards 12, 13. And then this particular year, this just set off right when this Scorpio started coming around. So I think he had something attached to him, or was playing in something we didn't know about, or God knows what. So what happened was that I would be asleep, and this I remember the first time it happened. I was in my bedroom. I had the back bedroom. My room was painted this beautiful teal blue color, and I had a really nice bedroom set. My mom had bought me this real nice ivory colored bedroom set because I had never had a bedroom set before, and she finally had enough money to buy me something like that, and she got me one, and I was so excited about it. It was gorgeous. As a matter of fact, I think she might even still have it. I'm not sure. But anyway, so I was in this, in my room, and my friend, that Scorpio, and his couple buddies had come over. They left, and I was laying in the bed, and I was knocked out, and I woke up because the phone was ringing. I was always on the phone back then, always talking to my friends. And the phone was ringing, and I heard the phone, and I was trying to get up to get the phone. But something was on top of me, laying on me, and I could feel it. It felt like a bear. That's the only way I could explain it. It didn't have any hair, but it felt like what I would imagine a bear laying on you with no hair feels like. That's what it felt like. And I could not move. I couldn't move. I couldn't scream. I was terrified because I had never experienced anything like this before, and I could not figure out what was wrong with me. Like, why can't I move? The phone is ringing. I'm trying to reach it, and I'm trying to scream. I mean, I'm inside my body tripping. Like, my spirit is wiggling and screaming. I'm trying, but my body's doing nothing. The normal movements or things that I'm telling it to do is not doing. It's just laying, and I feel like I'm being crushed. So after a while, I felt whatever it was lift all at once, not in parts like a person gets up in pieces. This just lifted. And I was like, I could finally move. So I grabbed the phone, and it was the Scorpio. And I started telling him what happened. And he went into, I don't remember exactly what he said, but whatever he said, the answer didn't satisfy me. Because I was like, wait, what? Like, what are you talking about? And so he was always mixing fantasy, his own fantasies, with actual occult information. And this is why I'm very careful about who I get information from, because a lot of people do this. A lot of people either don't know what they're talking about, they make things up, and this is what he would do. He would make things up and marry it together. So he says something that didn't satisfy me. I got up, and we had an encyclopedia set in our house. And I looked in the encyclopedia set, and for days after that, I went to the library, I was at my school, and I was looking to see what this was. Now, my research told me that this was sleep paralysis. That it was just a normal thing, really. Your brain wakes up before your body does, and your body is not able to move yet. So you just have to relax and breathe, and eventually the two of them will marry back together. Now, some people, that is exactly what it is. They even have studies and medicines and all kinds of stuff, therapies for it, all kinds of stuff. So I was like, oh, that's what it is. Okay, cool. That was a great explanation for me, And this was like a long time ago. Ever since then, I've seen more and more information about this. So now it makes me wonder, are these people really experiencing sleep paralysis like I thought I was? Or are some of them going through what I was going through? So anyway, that was the first time, and it kept happening. It kept happening. It kept happening over and over again. I was like 13-ish when it started, and at like 15-ish, it stopped, because that's when I started to spend a lot of time away from home. And I noticed that when I sleep with another person, because I was with my daughter's father at that point, and I noticed when I'm with another person that this thing was not coming around. And it felt exactly the same every time. So it was 2 years. And for that 2 years, I'm thinking that it's just sleep paralysis. But something in me is like, there's something more going on here. Because it wasn't just the paralysis. Why do I feel like something is laying on me? Why do I feel it breathing? Why can I hear its thoughts? This is not just regular sleep paralysis. This is something else. And if you Google sleep demon, there are lots of people I've come to find who had exactly the same experience. And I'm sitting there like, oh my goodness. But I didn't find out any of this information at that time. At that time, I was still thinking that it was just sleep paralysis. So I always, like, my intuition was like, what is that really? So, okay, I'm with my daughter's father. I'm spending weekends with him. I ended up being in a relationship with him. I got married to him, had his daughter. So we were together from the time I was 15 to I was 21. Okay. And during that time, I had not really much any of that kind of thing went on. Other things would happen of the paranormal, but not that. Well, after we broke up, and I'm sleeping alone again, I noticed it started to happen again. I got my own place, my own apartment, and it's starting to happen here and there. And then I moved from where I was at back to Philadelphia, and I'm still experiencing this. So during this time, I'm still thinking something is really strange. And I went to Africa during this time. And I was staying with this family, and I'll never forget, the head of the family is called the Ohini, and in Ghana, in the Twi language. And the Ohini met me the first time, and we were just kind of hanging out, having drinks, eating, very normal kind of things you would do. And he sat next to me, and he was asking me questions about my life and who I am. And he was, he was a very interesting man. He had this kind of gaze, like when you talk to him, like he could see things you couldn't see. And I found out later he was a seer, and so he can. And I was like, okay, but I didn't know that until later. And he would just sit with me. And I remember him saying to me, when that first night, he would touch me and say things in Twi. And the guy that I was dating, this is his uncle. So he's just watching. And I asked him later, what was he doing? And he said he was blessing you. And I was like, oh, okay. So then I saw him again. And every time I saw him, he would, touch me, not inappropriately, like in like the way that a father would. And he would touch me in certain areas and say certain words. And he gave me this ring that I still have. And he was like, wear this, And then like towards the end of my time in Ghana, I was there for like 2 months. When it was time for me to go, he did this same thing and did these, blessings on me. And he said, nothing else will bother you at night. And I was like, how does he know something bothers me at night? I never told any of him about that. I hadn't talked about it in years. And he was like, nothing else will bother you at night. And he was just very, pleasant about it. Didn't make a big deal about it. And he just kept it moving, And I was like, it came to my mind immediately. And I was like, that can't be what he's talking about. So I left Ghana, came back home to the States. The first night that I came home, I felt this thing. I could always feel it coming. When it got to the door, not so much down the hallway, but when it got to my door, it would always come to the door and then walk to the bed and lay on me. Same thing every time. This time I heard it, and I heard it coming. I heard it walking, and I was like, that's it. I knew it. And at that point in my life, I was 22 by then. So I had experienced this, maybe 30 or 40 times. So I knew what was getting ready to happen. And I laid there, and it was nothing I could do. All I could do was brace myself. So I braced myself, and whatever it was laid on me. And when it touched my skin, it shattered like glass. And I felt the glass go everywhere. I didn't see anything. I just felt it. And I was like, and I never experienced that again. Whatever it was died. I felt it die. I felt it die and explode in pieces. And I was like, okay. Now, mind you, I'm 22 years old. I don't know a lot about spirituality and magic and that kind of stuff. I'm brand new. So I experienced it, and then I just kept on reading and researching. And that's when I found evidence on sleep demons and other people who've experienced this. So some people do have straight up sleep paralysis. That's a real thing. But there are other people who are experiencing these sleep demons. And these sleep demons you hear about in different cultures. Some people call it having a hag riding you. The old folks call it that. So it's basically the same thing. You feel something on top of you and you can't move. And with sleep paralysis, you don't feel something on top of you. You don't feel it breathing. You don't feel it. I could read this thing's thoughts. And it was so strange because it didn't have complex thoughts. This thing was dumb. It was dumb like real dumb, you know? And I could read his thoughts and it was thinking feed, feed, feed over and over again. It was feeding off my energy. And that's what it was coming to do. Lay on me, feed off my energy. And it never like did anything sexual to me. Some people have talked about incubus or succubus doing something sexual to them. For me, it was never sexual. It would just lay on me and like suck my energy. And I didn't know what it was until later, after it was already over and I had been reading and researching and going online and reading books. That's when I found out about other people who've experienced it too. And there are variations in what they've experienced. Some of you might have even experienced it, but it's variations in what you experience. But that thing is a demon, and you can tell because it's very physical. Spirits and angels don't have that physical kind of energy to them. It's very, very physical. And they're not all dumb. Some of them are dumb and some of them are more intelligent from what I understand. If you study demonology, you see all of this. And again, I didn't know any of this at the time. But they have different levels of intelligence, and mostly they want to harm. They want to drain you. And I do remember being so tired. From the time it first started happening, I used to always be exhausted. And my mom thought I was anemic, and then they had me on vitamins, and nothing really, it helped, but nothing really got me back to where I was before this happened. And then after that happened, my energy was more normal again. So that's how I know the difference between these beings, because I had a very intimate, over a decade long relationship, one that was feeding off of me. And if it wasn't for me going to Africa, and I just went to Africa because I wanted to know my roots. I wanted to know where my ancestors came from. It wasn't like I was thinking I'm going to Africa to get this thing away. I didn't even realize at that point what I was dealing with. I didn't realize what I was dealing with until after it was destroyed. And then I was scared, like, oh my God, look at what I was dealing with, you know? And when it would happen, I always prayed. I remember that. I always would lay there and pray. And after a while, it would stop. Every single time. But then, like I said, after 22, thank goodness that never happened. And he said that. He said, nothing will ever bother you again. And he was right. So that's how I know the difference. And some of you may have experienced this, but just know that there are different types of beings on the astral plane, in the spirit world, if you want to call it. And they're not all evil. They're not all good, you know, but they're not all evil. You know, and you can come across good spirits. I've come across many. I've come across angels. I've come across my grandmother, you know, so you can come across good spirits. You can come across some mischievous spirits sometimes. A residual spirit is not even really conscious of you. They're just living their life. They don't even know you're there. The ones that are more intelligent, the ones that are quote unquote haunting you, depending, they could be mischievous or they could be trying to communicate with you. So it's different kinds of things. So before you decide you know what something is, Take your time and research it, because it's different things out there. And I would have never known what I had dealt with. It just would have stopped and I would have moved on with my life. But I never would have known that that's what it was if it wasn't for the research I did and what he said to me. What he said to me tipped me off that I was right and I was dealing with something more than just a neurological crisscross, you know? And like I said, it was kind of scary to think about it, you know. Looking back on it is definitely kind of scary. All right, now let's do some positive comments to get us a palate cleanser. Simply Jim says, my sister versus my father. Aquarius women versus Aquarius men. Which one is more savage? She said the women. Laugh out loud. The men are traditional manly men. A lot of people do say that the Aquarius woman is more savage. I did a video, and that's the one that she's responding to. A lot of people tell me that. They're like, them Aquarius women, man. Like, you got to watch them, man. They a trip. Sipping it up with Goddess Raven. Goddess Raven is a friend of mine. She's a dominatrix, which I love. I just love talking to her about S&M. And she has her own channel here on YouTube, and she does her own show called Sipping It Up with Goddess Raven. So check it out. She talks about popular culture. I don't know if she talks about S&M. That would probably be interesting though. But she definitely talks a lot about popular culture and what's going on in the world. Goddess Raven said, I would have peed myself. She's talking about the Halloween incident. For those of you who remember, I got the scare of my life on Halloween. And she said that she probably would have peed on herself. I was shocked. I mean, I was like, what just happened? So it was definitely shocking. And I did tell the story, the whole story. If you want to see it, go to the community tab, because I posted it with my Halloween costume over the weekend. Okay? All right, guys, come back soon because I got a lot more to say. See you later.